And the Fauci diaries fallout is not over yet. HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. clashed with CNN's Dana Bash, echoing the frustration of many Americans who believe the press failed to ask tough questions during the pandemic.
I really want to move on, but
yeah,
you were saying
yes, I were part of the problem.
No, I wasn't part of the problem.
There was absolute press malpractice. You weren't allowing your
Mr.
job,
Secretary,
your job is a fierce skepticism toward authority. And
yes,
you weren't doing that. You were beating up
My
on
job
people
is also,
who were dissenting. You were scaring people.
Why are you saying that?
Because that was the job of CNN. You're repeating it like a parrot. I've actually read the science. Let's come back here and debate the science.
I'm not debating this with you.
Of course you won't.
No, because I'm not debating.
All you know how to do is repeat things that people told you and say, trust the experts.
Okay, well, guess what? That is my job, to talk to people.
Your job is to tell the truth to the American public.
Yes, and my job is to get as much information as I can.
Kennedy, I love your passion about this issue, and you speak, I think, for a lot of moms and dads out there who had children who went through this in the middle of it. What do you think of that exchange?
Good for the secretary, because these people are not held to account enough. And the Fauci diaries really gave us a glimpse into his mindset and the cozy relationship he had with people like Dana Bash and like Jake Tapper. And, people at CNN where he had a pipeline where he could just feed them all sorts of crap. And they would go up there and they would disseminate it with a manure spreader. And it was pretty powerful. And, now, conveniently, she doesn't want to discuss some of the vaccine stuff. And I've gotten into it with RFK Jr. about vaccines in the past. I don't agree with him on everything. And I know she was trying to get him to tell parents to get the measles vaccine, which he, in fact, did. But there's so much to answer for between Anthony Fauci and the mainstream media, and how they would not allow for any skeptical points. They would not allow for differing experts to come forward. I mean, it's like, if you, God forbid, were diagnosed with cancer, wouldn't you want someone else to look at your scans and say, you know what, I don't think we need to do surgery right now. But not only did Anthony Fauci want to do surgery, he was standing there with an axe ready to start chopping off limbs. He wasn't even using a scalpel. So it wasn't a very subtle form of art that he was using in order to carve up the country. And he did so much damage. And yes, it is because of people like her. And I have to say, I met her in the past. She was not very nice to me, so I don't feel bad saying
that. Sorry about that. It's been a while since I did communications work, Greg, but it is kind of surprising when learning about that Dr. Fauci had so much time on his hands to communicate directly with anchors instead of letting the comms people do that.
It's very gross. I'm surprised she was blindsided by this. And boy, man, talk about having a long face. She was a media groupie. We all knew that. You knew that was like she had lost her credibility. And I don't understand. It always feels like the people least into the news are the CNN news anchors. They always seemed like it's the first time they heard something. I actually, and I'm with Kennedy, I have disagreed strongly with RFK on the way he positions the autism vaccine link. But vax hesitancy is a good thing when you are faced with vax intimidation. That's what changed me, which we experienced during COVID. If I have to say, why do I have to feel bad if I don't want my daughter to get a vaccine for a disease spread by drug use and sex? Why do I have to feel bad about that? Don't shame me because you don't have an answer for it. And that's something that every parent has a right to say. And I think, again, as someone who's highly critical of RFK Jr., there has been a dramatic rise in autism, and it demands an explanation. And you might want to resist the reflex to close that question prematurely for that reason. We're just asking for better data, less dogma. He's not rejecting the principles of vaccinations. He's questioning whether, and I question it, and it bothers me that whether the childhood schedule has been adequately stress tested That's kind of basically what it is. It's not about the individual vaccines, to me anyway. It's like, wow, there's so many. And it kind of started in, 1986? Wasn't that when it began? When they kind of loosened the standards. And, I didn't know any of this stuff until I had a baby. And I'm going like, wow, we have a lot of vaccines and they all happen at once, and that wasn't always the case. And you have this, used to be 1 in 10,000 autism cases, and now it's 1 in 36. Of course, they broadened the criteria. That could explain it. And then you have all those fraudulent cases, the Somalians in Minnesota. Maybe that's it. All I know is there's an environmental issue there, and we got to get to the bottom of it. And I think you can be critical of RFK on the autism piece, but cheer him on when it comes to being skeptical about the entire industry and what's going on with the scheduling.
And with the media, because he proves himself over and over again to be one of the MVPs of Trump's cabinet.
Yeah, he's very highly rated. And she came to this discussion because she wanted to wax him over measles. And now measles cases are up because Fauci and Democrat school closures made everybody miss their vaccinations. And because Biden opened the border and all the unvaccinated third worlders poured in. So she comes on and thinks she's winning and just gets absolutely crushed and says, I'm not going to debate you. That's her job. If you disagree, you're supposed to debate the guy. And then he just nails her. He says, listen, you just repeat what you're told and then say, trust the experts. Now, I've been in this business countless years, not as many as Dana Bash. I managed to hang on. And even I know the experts are wrong. Experts have an agenda. Experts have a financial interest in the outcomes. Sometimes experts, as you said, disagree with other experts. So you can't say the experts are right after you've just had 4 years of the experts being dead wrong about everything. Rewind it. CNN put experts on that said the housing crisis was not a crisis. There was no bubble, that there were WMDs in Iraq, that Clinton was going to smoke Donald Trump, 99.9%. And so to say that that's not going to be the case, she's just ignorant. And that's why CNN is in last place, is because they're so arrogant, that they've been so dead wrong for so long. And then you get up and you start preaching. And that's why everybody has tuned CNN out. They're like the Fauci of cable.
Jessica, last word to you.
I think that this is one of the rare examples today of a conversation or a clip that went absolutely viral and had two polar opposite reactions. Because I have found since 2024 that there is more crossover than I thought. Obviously, there's far right and blue sky and whatever's going on there. But the read that you guys have on this exchange is polar opposite to everybody, certainly that I know, who thought that RFK Jr. was way over his skis, very aggressive and in denial of what his administration's policies are doing to Americans, which is making them less healthy. So the backward looking, anything that's wrong, it was Biden's fault. Sometimes it's Obama's fault. President Trump does this all the time.
So do you guys.
Fauci is, an evil guy because, he is obsessed with the flattery and he has, the time to be on the phone with these people. Donald Trump picks up the phone for anyone who calls and he'll sit on the phone with you all night. He's in the middle of a war. He can take your phone calls. The measles cases are not just a little bit up. It's over 2,370 cases, highest in 35 years. CDC has 25% less staff. 45 states, there are people with explosive diarrhea, and there is no end in sight for this. We just had our first 2 fatalities. We don't know if it's Taylor Farms. It was Taylor Farms, and it's not Taylor Farms.
Why are measles cases
Okay,
up?
then why is whooping cough back then?
I have no idea.
Because people aren't getting vaccinated anymore because you have an anti-vaxxer as the head of HHS. Women are petrified.
I haven't heard anything about the whooping cough.
Then
just
look
like
it up.
Mandela Barnes. This is news to me.
Women are petrified to take Tylenol because this administration is telling them that it's unsafe for their unborn child, that it's going to lead to a rise in autism, which is completely unfounded. The science does not back it up. And that goes back to the 80s.
You said the science doesn't back up all the things during COVID that you were dead wrong about.
We weren't.
The science doesn't back it up, doesn't fly anymore. We don't believe that.
Okay, then go. You always say that,
He's
and then
pro-vaccine for measles too. You're blaming the guy for rising cases of measles, and he's out there on CNN saying, "Yeah, get vaccinated for the measles."
After he got backed into a corner and begrudgingly had to say it, you don't fire a corner.
He said it during the hearing.
By the way, the rates of measles are higher in Canada and England and Mexico. They leave that out.
Well, what matters is that we're at a 35-year high. Usually it's 1 to 5 cases. Go take a look at it, Jerome. Because people
he just explained to you they missed their vaccines.
Yeah. Okay, again.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.